Welcome back to Fables Adventures. We hope that you're enjoying these daily episodes of audio stories as much as we're enjoying making them. Check out the description for links to the Fables Adventures app, where you can make and share your own audio stories, get access to the community feed of stories from other creators, and subscribe to have your story featured right here on our podcast. Today's story is entitled The Frequency Weapon, Iris's Choice, and it's a story about art, ethics, and gentrification. Imagine experiencing sound as color. Every bass note a deep purple wave. Every guitar riff a cascade of orange and gold. Every human voice a unique spectrum of light that only you can see. That's Iris Wavelength's world. Iris is a brilliant audio engineer living in a vibrant arts district, a neighborhood built on music, murals, and community. But their gift goes beyond just experiencing sound differently. Iris has developed technology that can manipulate human emotions through carefully engineered audio frequencies. They can make people feel calm, connected, joyful, or manipulated. And now their neighborhood is dying. Corporate developers are buying everything, closing venues, replacing artists with parking structures and bank branches. The community Iris loves is being erased, one building at a time. Then Victoria Chen arrives with an offer. Use your technology to save the neighborhood. Create frequency patterns that make people feel such strong community bonds they'll never want to leave. Fight gentrification with emotional engineering. And in exchange, let us license your invention for commercial applications. A polite way of saying, let us sell emotional manipulation to anyone with enough money. Iris knows what this technology could become in the wrong hands. A weapon for governments. A tool for authoritarian control. A way to make people believe they're feeling authentic emotions when they're actually being programmed. But refusing means watching their world disappear, their studio, their friends, the acoustic heart of everything they love. This is a story about the weight of creative gifts and the responsibility that comes with them, about gentrification, consent, and what we're willing to sacrifice to preserve community, about whether it's ever ethical to manipulate emotions, even for good reasons, and about the hardest choice an artist can make. Destroy your life's work to protect it from becoming a weapon, or watch everything you love die anyway. Turn up the volume for The Frequency Weapon.
Iris Wavelength stood in the center of their studio, surrounded by equipment that hummed with barely contained potential. The walls pulsed with color in their synesthetic vision, deep blues and purples from the bass frequencies, sharp yellows and oranges dancing across the mids, crystalline whites sparkling in the highs. But lately, those colors had been fading. The neighborhood was dying, and with it, so was the work that gave Iris life. The studio occupied the third floor of the Meridian building, a converted textile factory that had become the beating heart of the arts district. Through the tall industrial windows, Iris could see the murals coating the alley walls below, massive, intricate pieces that shifted and changed with the light. A street musician played saxophone on the corner, and Iris could see the sound as ribbons of burnt orange and deep gold weaving through the air like smoke. They'd grown up in these alleys, learned to engineer sound in this very building, built their entire philosophy around the truth that music could move people in ways nothing else could. But the for sale signs were multiplying. The Riverside Development Corporation had been buying up properties for months, their logo appearing on construction barriers like a creeping fungus. 3 venues had already closed. The corner store where musicians gathered had been replaced by a bank branch. The textile factory next door, where Iris's mentor had taught them everything, was now a parking structure for a hotel chain. Iris's phone buzzed. Unknown number. They almost didn't answer. "Is this Iris Wavelength?" The voice was polished, corporate, everything Iris instinctively distrusted. "Who's asking?" "My name is Victoria Chen. I work for Riverside Development. We need to meet. What you're doing here, it's remarkable. We want to help." Iris ended the call without responding, but the woman's words had already burrowed under their skin. Because Victoria Chen was right. What Iris was doing was remarkable. Just last week, they'd completed an audio frequency sequence that made test subjects report feeling unprecedented levels of calm and community connection. The wavelengths hummed in perfect golden harmonies in Iris's mind. It was beautiful, powerful, dangerous. The next morning, Iris couldn't work. They paced the studio, ran their fingers across synthesizer keys without pressing them, stared at the mixing board. The equipment felt like a loaded weapon. Every breakthrough Iris achieved made them more certain they were standing on the edge of something that could either save people or destroy them. At noon, Victoria Chen appeared at the studio door. She was younger than her voice suggested, maybe 40, with sharp eyes, and a suit that cost more than Iris's monthly rent. She wasn't alone. Behind her stood Marcus Webb, the neighborhood's most respected musician, a saxophonist who'd played these alleys since before Iris was born. "Marcus?" Iris felt the floor shift. "Hear her out," Marcus said quietly. His eyes were tired. "I did. It matters." Victoria stepped inside, not waiting for permission. "Your work has been documented. We have recordings of your test subjects, data from your experiments. We know you can manipulate emotional states through audio frequencies. And we know something else, something that will interest you far more." She pulled out a tablet and showed Iris a complex map of the neighborhood with overlaid frequency patterns. Some of them Iris recognized. The fundamental frequency embedded in the Meridian Building's framework, the harmonic resonance pulsing through the old water pipes, the acoustic patterns deliberately built into the street layout decades ago by the original community engineers. "The buildings themselves are transmitters," Victoria said. "This entire district was designed as a social control mechanism. Benevolent, yes, but still control. We've decoded the patterns. Combined with your technology, we could do something remarkable. Convince people to stay. Make them feel the community bond so strongly they'll fight the development. Save the neighborhood without ever changing anyone's mind by making them incapable of wanting to leave." Iris's stomach twisted. "That's not... You're talking about mind control." "I'm talking about emotional guidance," Victoria corrected. "And yes, we'd also like to license your technology for commercial applications. But first, we want to help you. We'll halt demolition in a 3-block radius. Guaranteed. Your studio stays. Your friends stay. Your world survives. In exchange for my weapon." "In exchange for your gift," Victoria said. "Used properly?" She left the tablet on Iris's desk and left. Marcus lingered. "The neighborhood's dying anyway," he said, his voice hollow. "I'm 67 years old, Iris. I thought I'd play these alleys until I died. But there won't be alleys. There won't be venues or studios or street art. There will be condos. I'm not saying take the deal. I'm saying I understand the weight of what she's offering." When Marcus left, Iris sat alone with the tablet staring at the frequency maps. They could see it all so clearly now, the layers of acoustic engineering that made this place special, that made it feel like home. And they could see equally clearly what would happen if they gave Victoria what she wanted. The manipulation wouldn't stop at the neighborhood. It would become a product, sold to governments, corporations, anyone wealthy enough to weaponize human emotion. And Iris, brilliant and reckless Iris, would have made it possible. For 3 days, Iris didn't leave the studio. They worked on new sequences, testing boundaries, pushing further, and with each experiment, the colors they saw became more vivid, more precise, more devastating. A frequency pattern that made people feel intense nostalgia, another that created artificial community bonds, a third that could make someone believe they were experiencing authentic joy when they were actually experiencing programming. On the 4th day, Iris made their choice. They spent 6 hours in the Meridian Building's infrastructure, placing speakers and frequency emitters in the walls, the pipes, the foundations. Then they climbed to the roof and broadcast a signal across the entire neighborhood. It was their most ambitious work yet, a frequency sequence that incorporated every note, every harmonic, every sonic artifact that made this place home. It pulsed through the buildings, through the streets, through the air itself. Iris could see it as a constellation of pure color, every shade they'd ever perceived, singing in perfect harmony. The signal did something beautiful. It didn't manipulate. It remembered. For 3 minutes, every person in the neighborhood experienced the full acoustic history of the place, every song ever played, every laugh, every cry, every moment of human connection embedded in the infrastructure. They experienced it not as control, but as truth. And then Iris shut it down, permanently. They went to their equipment and began destroying it, methodically, piece by piece, smashing synthesizers, burning hard drives, erasing the formulas, the frequencies, the technology that could weaponize human emotion. Victoria Chen arrived as smoke was still rising from the studio's trash bin. "What have you done?" she breathed. "Made the choice you wanted me to make," Iris said, "but the opposite one. You've destroyed everything. The recordings, the data. It exists in one place now," Iris said. "In the buildings themselves, in the infrastructure, in the acoustic memory of this neighborhood. It's not reproducible. It's not transferable. It's not a product. It's a place. That's all it ever was." Victoria left without another word. But within the week, Riverside Development announced a change in plans. New zoning protections for the Arts District, historic landmark status for the old factory buildings, a community trust established to manage future development. It wasn't a victory. Not really. The neighborhood would change. Slowly, inevitably, it would shift and transform. That was the nature of living things. But it would change on its own terms, shaped by the people who lived there, not by frequency patterns and emotional manipulation. Iris never rebuilt the studio. Instead, they became what the neighborhood needed, a repair specialist, maintaining the acoustic infrastructure, keeping the building's frequencies tuned and true. They still perceived colors and music, still felt the synesthetic dance of sound and light. But now they used that gift not to manipulate, but to listen. And sometimes, on quiet nights, standing in the Meridian Building with their hands on the old brick walls, Iris could feel the colors singing back, the golden memory of community, the purple harmony of shared history, the crystalline white of something precious, preserved against the fading light. The vibrant urgency hadn't disappeared. It had transformed, become something quieter, deeper, more essential. The echoes hadn't been forgotten. They'd been embedded in the very bones of the place, safe from extraction, protected from weaponization, belonging finally and fully to the people who called this neighborhood home.